Well, welcome to our economic interview series. I'm excited to be joined today by Suzanne Christman, the Director of Business Development at Pinellas County Economic Development. Thanks so much, Suzanne, for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, to get started, would you mind sharing your educational journey with us and what led you to this particular profession?
Sure, happy to. Economic development is one of those sort of hidden professions, kind of, so to speak. I sure didn't know about it when I was going through college or even my early years of my career. I actually fell into it, which when you talk to economic developers, that's typically what they'll say. They just stumbled upon it. I came to economic development through the insurance industry. Actually, I was working for an insurance company and I landed a position with our regional chamber of commerce up north as their member services manager because they had a very robust insurance program. So they were looking for someone with that background. I was with them for about 3 years. And because it was a regional chamber of commerce, they were doing a little bit of economic development and wanted to kind of branch off that piece, kind of split it off and really focus on economic development because we needed it at the time in that market. So, one of the vice presidents came to me. She said, Suzanne, I don't know what you'll be doing. I don't know what your job title will be, but I really just need someone I can depend on. We're going to just start this thing from the bottom up. I'd love for you to come with me. I said, sure, sounds like a great opportunity. And that's kind of, and then we branched off into the economic development arm, basically, which was a public-private funded with a great deal of private funding. So that was sort of how I stumbled into it. And it was great. She was the person who kind of recruited me into that, was a great mentor. She had economic development experience, so I felt comfortable, kind of venturing into this new industry.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
How would you kind of describe economic development for, our students and our listeners here?
So one of the things I tell actually my family, because a lot of times they still don't know what I do. I say, we just help businesses. Like you can really simplify it. Bottom line is we help businesses be successful. Now there's a whole bunch of stuff that falls under that umbrella. But that's what we're doing. So for me, it's a perfect fit because I like to help people and so I can help businesses and collect a paycheck doing it. But we really focus on, the business community, making sure that we've got a pro-business community here, that they can be successful, and breaking down those barriers so that they can be successful. And again, the workforce piece, of course, the businesses need the workforce. Our citizens need the businesses, right? They need the jobs. So we really, focus on that piece. It's twofold. It's for the citizens to have good high wage jobs, and it's for the businesses to have those good employees. So, that's kind of like the bottom line, like what is economic development, right? We're just trying to create a better working environment in our community for both the citizens and the businesses. Like I said, a lot falls under that. But really, that's kind of the simplified answer of that.
That's critical to our community, certainly. Maybe one thing that falls under it is business relocation.
Right.
Can you kind of share how that comes about? And maybe if you could give a recent example, like Foot Locker, for example.
Sure, happy to. So Foot Locker, that was a long time project. And we tried, when we were getting the press calls and whatnot, we tried to really stress that because these projects don't happen overnight. People don't realize an attraction project, whether it's a corporate headquarters or even a manufacturer. We moved SS White here, a manufacturing company from New Jersey a few years ago. They take time. The typical timeline for an attraction project is probably 3 to 5 years. So, it's not an overnight success. You have to be patient. We did start working on the Foot Locker project back in, I think, 2021. And that came to us through what we call site location consultants. So businesses who are looking to relocate will hire these consultants to do all the homework, do the research. Where are the best places for us to do business? Who has the workforce that we need? Who has the right, tax community that we need. And these consultants will do all that groundwork and that research and then present it back to the company. So we started working with Foot Locker's consultants back in 21. The projects, like most of our projects, they kind of come and go. You know, in time, they peak, then they get quiet for a while, then they come back, then they get quiet. You know, in 21, you know, everyone was just coming out of the COVID pandemic, and the office market was really uncertain, right? No one really knew what that was going to look like. Will people be going back to the office? Our office building is going to be sitting vacant. So that was part of the delay as well. You know, everyone wanted to kind of wait it out a little bit, see what the office market was going to look like before making any big investments in that industry. So, you know, come back to now 2024, and Foot Locker had a presence here. They were hiring some people over the past few years to have a presence here, and then they finally, you know, got to the point where they said, "Yep, we're confident. We know what the office market looks like in Florida, and we're going to make the move." So, but again, it takes time, you know, and a lot of times it's, you know, it's a corporate decision. It has to go to a board of directors in many cases. You know, there's many approval processes along the way. And a lot of times when we're working these projects, if we're working with site location consultants, we don't know who the end user is. Like when, you know, back in 21, when we were working with these site consultants, we didn't know that was Foot Locker. You know, so they don't even tell us. We sign confidentiality agreements with, you know, the companies have those in place, and we kind of work blindly for a long period of time until they're ready to provide that information. And that the reason for that is the companies want to protect their employees, right? They don't want, because maybe they're just doing something exploratory. Maybe they're just looking at a few markets, but they're not sure they're going to move. They don't want the employees to get wind of that, because a bunch of employees are going to jump ship thinking they're losing their jobs, you know? So it is very important that we maintain that confidentiality until the company is ready to offer relocation packages, to tell the employees, you know, that's for them to tell that story and how they want to roll that out. So we're very respectful of that. And that comes up a lot in questions, because people want to know, well, what's this project you're working? And it's okay, you know, that we don't know, because that way we can't accidentally share any information. So, you know, we try to explain to them, well, it's in the best interest of the company. They don't want their competitors to know what they're doing. They don't want the employees to know yet until they're sure of what they're doing. You know, it's really in everyone's best interest that it's confidential right now. But that's sort of the history of the Foot Locker project. And we're excited to have them here, and that we have another corporate headquarters to add to our community.
Absolutely. Well, great insight on that. Thank you. Pivoting a little bit, what guidance would you give young people about pursuing their business dreams?
I would say, you know, being at the age that I'm at now, start young. Do it when you're young. It's a lot easier. And that's something we talk about a lot, even just amongst our staff, and our staff in our business development center, our small business development center, who are working with entrepreneurs and stuff all the time. You know, before you have all the responsibilities of a family or a mortgage or, you know, all these other, it's a lot easier to, if you have the idea, to make the sacrifices and start it when you're young. And we see that so we watch, you know, these companies that have become very successful. We watch them grow, and that's pretty much the kind of the MO of how they've done it. You know, they did start at a younger age. And I don't mean, you know, super young, but just not my age. So, you know, do it before you're in your 50s. But that's sort of the one, I think, you know, one of those things too, like there's a lot of advice out there, but people don't really think about that. And it's just something, like I said, that we've witnessed time and time again. We see the companies grow all the time. It's really heartwarming to watch them grow and expand here, because we're working with them and helping them through that process. And you know, you have to be dedicated. That's the other thing. I mean, I give these people so much credit because they are dedicated. They don't give up. They don't let a little problem sidetrack them. You know, you have to be aggressive and just, you know, figure out a way to do what you want to do. And those are the people who are successful, the ones who can just pivot, you know, figure it out as they go, and really just have that passion and dedication.
Certainly. And then last question here, you know, based on your insight of the economic landscape in Florida, can you share your view on the emerging professions and industries in the state?
Sure. And now that's an interesting question because it does, because I've been here over 20 years, I do see again, sort of the ebb and flow of the industries. You know, way back when, many years ago, the financial services industry was huge. Then we had the recession and then we had all the student loan financiers going out of business. And, you know, so it's up and down. Right now, currently, I would say the past probably 2 to 3 years, well, probably since COVID, manufacturing is huge. And when I say manufacturing, that's sort of another thing that people kind of misinterpret. We have a ton of manufacturers in Pinellas County. We're third in the state for manufacturing employment. Those jobs are not, you know, on an assembly line, right? So they are high-tech engineering, manufacturing engineering jobs. So it's a very different type of manufacturing than that old traditional way that we used to think about manufacturing. The manufacturers in Pinellas County, when you drive around, you're driving by something that looks like an office building. That's a manufacturer in there. You know, they don't look like manufacturers, and the jobs are not what the traditional manufacturing jobs were. So between the AI, the technology, the engineering, those are today's manufacturing jobs. And we are seeing just a huge boom in that industry right now. Workforce is tight. So, you know, we are spending a lot more time trying to work on that talent recruitment piece now as well. Because again, as things change, our focus changes, right? We change with the economy. So, and that's one of the nice things about economic development too. It's never the same. You never have 2 days exactly the same, which we like. Some people probably don't like that, but why we're here, because we like that. But so right now, I would say that is the hottest industry, and that is across Florida. I'm very active in our Florida state organizations, and it's everywhere. And it's also, like I said, on the attraction side, manufacturing, specifically from like that northeastern area of the United States. We have a lot of manufacturers kind of looking at this at Florida in general.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your insight and experience with us today. We appreciate all the work you do in our community to improve our businesses. But thanks again for joining us today, and thanks again for tuning in to the next edition of our economic interview series. Have a good one.
Great, thanks.